Hey guys, salut mes amis och hallå gubbar. Well, in typical Valve fashion, we see yet again a day one patch following big map releases for CS2. This one is no different, yet some of these fixes are still significant and interesting enough to show you in a video. We also received a very interesting announcement called a level playing field, which I'm also going to discuss more. But before that, here's Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is an automated service that lets you trade skins instantly for a fee, sign up now, and get up to $5 bonus. Simply add items from your inventory, then find skins that matches your current balance. Site offers live support 24/7. You can also top up your balance if you're missing a few dollars, and there's a lot of skins to choose from. Visit my link down below to get to Skins Monkey. Jumping straight to Anubis, when it comes to this map today, we see Valve being very swift and releasing improved clipping and collision. It seems they consistently launch CS2 maps riddled with unexpected clipping issues. You would think that by using the CSGO version of the map as a reference, these problems could be avoided. However, it doesn't seem to be as straightforward as that. But from what I can tell, after just hugging every wall on the map, the clipping seems just fine. I forgot to show this before, so I'll redeem myself here, but chickens can now swim. Neat. But with every CS2 map, this one also seems haunted by paper-thin walls. And I will say that the areas where performance gets drastically affected are still an issue. Valve will have to look into this for perhaps a day 2 patch. With Ancient, there are some interesting changes to show, and we can immediately spot a difference as we spawn. The water is a lot clearer now. This makes sense because of weapon drops. They've made it easier to spot the weapons, but only in the beginning where T's will spawn. As you can see, once you leave the area, you find all that mushy moss again. This is a needed change, but it's still hard to locate weapons underwater unless you have skins. Something I forgot to mention was that jumping on the sign was impossible when Ancient released, but now it's fixed, proving it wasn't intentional. Some of you complained about the lighting on Ancient, and it seems that it's been changed. The biggest notable changes are near middle and CT spawn, as you can see from these comparisons. In terms of both these maps, their introduction to CS2 were solid in that they are playable and no substantial game-breaking issues were found, except for the usual paper-thin walls. Under miscellaneous changes, we see, as always, mostly fixes. One of them being a case where incendiaries would sometimes fail to detonate in water, and the ragdoll limbs splash when they hit the water, which I was able to reproduce like this. With updates like these, it shows Valve once again following a strict pattern and schedule for CS2. We might see yet another smaller update related to map fixes, and in 2 more weeks, a new big update. Now let's move on to the huge announcement they made. Valve dropped a bombshell on the esports world through this blog post called a level playing field. They're shaking things up and trying to make the pro scene less about who you know and more about how good you are. Essentially, Valve killed franchising with this announcement, but only until 2025, which gives everyone time to adjust to the new rules. The new rules are: tournament organizers can't have cozy deals or funny business with the teams that play in their events. Teams can't buy their way into tournaments anymore. They've got to earn their spots fair and square, and any cash that teams get, whether it's from the prize pool or somewhere else, has to be public knowledge, and no more secret handshakes or shady deals. Now, this could seem like a huge W to the esports scene overall, which I believe it is. But let's look at it from both sides. On one hand, if all goes well, any team, no matter how new or small, could have a shot at the big leagues if they're good enough. Plus, with everything out in the open, there'll be no more whispers about who's getting what. On the other hand, not everyone's gonna like this. Teams that have poured cash on securing spots in big tournaments are probably feeling a bit like they've bought tickets on the Titanic. In fact, this change is so huge and substantial, we might even see some teams disappear. Take the North American scene as an example. Without their big money deals, some major NA teams might get left out in the cold because, as it stands today, a lot of NA teams are still getting invited to tier 1 events but are lacking in the pew-pew department. This takes me to an interesting point that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about. The PR power that some of these pros have is no joke. This can cause major damage to the scene. Some of them have more followers than the entire tier 2 scene combined. That is to say, we have some strong names with huge influence, and these players play a big part in giving Counter-Strike a shiny image. Their fans boost how many people tune in to watch tournaments, making the game even more popular. Not just the players, but also the teams. So with further risk of them not appearing on the big stage, some events could suffer a huge loss in terms of engagement, and that is a lot harder to sell to sponsors. Tournament organizers affected by this will need to come up with a life-saving plan B, and knowing a bit of this side myself, it's going to be really tough to adapt. Again, I want to make it clear, I'm in favor of these new rules. Valve's trying to make sure the focus is on skill, and not on who can pull the biggest crowds. So who really benefits benefits from this in the end? Well, these rules is a victory dance for teams who've got the skills but not the connections or the cash to buy their way into big name tournaments. It's not about who you know, it's about how well you can shit on the other team. It's also a win for the audience in terms of giving us unpredictable stories and showdowns where anyone could come out on top. And you could also say that with these changes, Counter-Strike is going back to its roots. No more gatekeeping or shady deals or secret handshakes, just you and 4 other guys getting together and competing in a tournament. That's what made Counter-Strike a hit in the first place and what essentially started the whole esports scene. What are your thoughts on all this? Let me know down below. Peace.